What's good, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video, and I will be reacting to 3 disturbing true laundromat horror stories that you never heard before. I like how I had to put that in. I think this is Nightmare Files.
And I saw.
Might be Mr. Nightmare.
I swear I was certain I saw something.
Okay, it's Nightmare Files. Wasn't sure if it was Mr. Nightmare Files, but yeah. Laundromat. I never had any real. I think the only kind of scary thing that happened at a laundromat for me was, I think I was like 16 though. So not quite as scary because I was, a teenager. I was 16, like 6'1", with like 220s. And at the time I was practicing martial arts and then boxing and stuff. So I wasn't really a scared person. I wasn't afraid of a physical altercation. But I remember I was in a laundromat because this was down south. It was a laundromat. I think it was called Mr. Burkett's. The guy who owned it, named Mr. Burkett, and and laundromat was it was connected to like a convenience store that he owned. He owned both of them, the laundromat and the convenience store. And I remember he had a bathroom in the back and it had a lock on. Of course, he had made it like where you could take, like, it was basically a nail and slide it through so you couldn't open the door from the other side. And then one day I just happened to have to use the bathroom, so I go in there after I put my clothes in the washer and started going in and use the bathroom. As soon as I sat down, all of a sudden it was like someone like tried to, because you got to, sometimes people didn't know the door was locked because there was no way to know someone was in there until you try to like open the door. And someone tried to turn the knob, and then all of a sudden, because when they turned the knob, I said somebody's in here. And all of a sudden, probably like about 5 seconds went by of just like a pause. And I was like, beating on the door. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, is somebody in here? Like, and I said, they kept beating. And I was like, what the fuck? And at that point, I almost like forgot I had to use the bathroom. And I stood up, and I stood up. It was weird. It was almost like they knew I stood up, because as soon as I stood up, the beating stopped. And when I forgot to mention, when I went into the laundromat, I was the only one in there at the time. No one else had, because I got there early as soon as they opened, which was like, I think like 8 or something like that. And I pull my pants up and come out the bathroom. No one's in the laundromat. And I was just like, and then I remember I ran out to the front door to see if I could see somebody. Because literally, like, as soon as I stood up, the night started, I pulled my pants up. I hadn't even zipped my fly because I was trying to see who it was. I was like, I'm about to beat somebody's ass. I was like, somebody had their ass whooped. And it was no one there. I don't know who did it or ran. Maybe it was somebody. It probably had enough time if it was a young kid to run and get in the store faster enough before I could get out to see him. But maybe there was somebody playing around like that. But that was the only really like scary experience. I know there was one time when I was at that same laundromat, and I don't know what happened. It was some issue inside the convenience store, and I thought I heard yelling, but I couldn't, like, because somebody walked out the convenience store, because where you would sit at, you could see it from the inside of the laundromat and the front door to the convenience store. And I remember hearing, as soon as like someone opened the door, like was walking out, and you hear like yelling, and then the door closed, it was fading. All of a sudden, police pulled up at about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe after that. Man, that wind is whipping out there. Sounds like whistling. But the police pulled up, and I remember they got in like on a fight with some guy, and they was which I remember I was surprised. I was surprised they didn't shot him because they like was fighting him, the police. But they was tussling with. They weren't like throwing punches and nothing like that. And it was two cops fighting this one guy, and they ended up slamming his head on the hood and handcuffing him and putting him in the back of the car. And I was like, what the? I mean, we just standing up. Everyone, of course, that was in the laundromat was standing up there looking like, what's going on? Because I don't know what. I don't know. I never asked Mr. Burkett. He was a nice guy. I never asked him. He was a nice, open guy, too. I never asked him, like, what happened or what was any of that about. And I don't know if that was him yelling, because it sounded like it was a woman. So I was like, it might have been his wife, because sometimes she worked at the front. Most of the time it was usually him, but sometimes she would be working up at the front. But yeah, don't really have any real bad like laundromat. I mean, when this was recommended, I was like laundromat stories, like laundromat horror stories. I was like, what could be unless you do some like Halloween type shit, like the laundry machine is like it's knocking, and you should open the door and it's like bloody sheets in the head inside or some shit. Anyway, let's get into this. All right, here we go.
I looked closely and I swear I was certain I saw something. I could see someone pacing back and forth. Once again,
I thought my thing messed up. It's been so long since I watched his videos that I forgot he does that. He like talks and then it cuts off.
my name is Harry, and this happened about 9 years ago when I was 10 years old. Growing up, it was just me, my brother, and my mom. We didn't have a lot of money and we moved around a lot, most of the time in rough neighborhoods. We moved into an apartment building when I was about 10 years old. It didn't take us long to get settled in. My mom gave my brother and me a task to help out. My brother would go out and get groceries and work side jobs if he could, and my task was to do the laundry. One day I went down to the first floor with a basket full of laundry. I walked into the laundromat and started putting clothes into the machine. That's when a man walked in with a laundry basket of his own. He was about in his early 40s, light bright hair that was slicked back and big 70s style glasses. He didn't say anything, but every now and then I would look across the laundromat and would see him staring at me. I tried not to look, but I couldn't help but check, especially when you're being watched. After some time, the man left the laundromat, which left me feeling relieved. Later that day, after finishing laundry, I was heading outside with my brother and a new friend to play baseball. Before exiting the building, I looked to my left down the corridor to the laundromat, and I saw that same man from earlier. He was peering around the corner, looking into the laundromat.
Oh yeah, I just
What was he
remembered
doing,
a
I thought?
couple more.
Was he actually looking for me? He was
I
being
guess
very
laundromat
sneaky.
stuff. I didn't think
I left the
laundromat
building
because they were like
before
in a
he had a
laundry
chance to turn
room
around and
in
see
an
me.
apartment building. So,
About 3 or 4 days
but
passed
I got some
before
more.
I needed
They're
to do
kind of
laundry again. The
weird.
first thing I
Now that
saw
I think
when
about
I
it as
walked
an
into the
adult.
laundromat was that man. This time he spoke and said, "Hey, I didn't know you like baseball," while giving me an unsettling smile.
I'm like, yeah,
How did he
I ain't
know
know
I
you
liked
could
baseball, I
fuck
thought?
off.
Has he been watching me,
Of
following
course.
me? I said, "Oh yeah," while letting out an awkward fake laugh. I walked past the man and towards the washing machine. The man didn't say anything. Instead, he just stood there watching me again, still with a weird smile. Thankfully though, he left shortly after I was able to continue doing my laundry. One evening I was bored and I think there was some electrical problem in our apartment. Because of that, I wasn't able to play video games or watch TV. So I decided to do something productive and do some laundry. I went down to the laundromat and began doing the load. That's when the lights started flickering, and at the same time the man came into the laundromat.
He is
As
definitely
soon as I
watching
saw
you.
him, I felt faint. He walked slowly up to me. looking up at the lights flickering, and said, "I think there's going to be a power outage." I looked up at the lights as well and said nervously, "Yeah, I think so
I
too."
think the lights are gonna go off
I
while me
looked
and
at the
you are in
man,
here.
and he just gave me a creepy grin,
Wouldn't that be funny?
just like
You'd be like,
before. At that point, the power did
no.
cut off, and the
Like,
laundromat, along with the rest of the
fuck out of
building,
here.
went dark. I was stuck in the dark laundromat alone with this man.
Oh,
He then
boy.
grabbed both of my arms
Man.
really tight and pulled me close to him. And he said to me, "It's okay.
I'll keep
You
you
don't have to be
safe.
afraid. It's
I'm
only
like,
dark.
I
It's fine."
no.
Before I could say anything to tell him to let me go,
Fuck off me.
he covered my mouth with his hand, then whispered to me saying, "Shh, it's okay. Don't worry." I remember
Man.
thinking at that point I was about to die,
Pedal.
thinking that that man was about to take me away. And it was pitch black in the building after all. And the exit to the building was just down the corridor. The lights then flickered back on, and the man said to me, "See? I said everything's gonna be okay," then letting me go from his tight grip. I remember standing there, frightened, the man walking past me, and he left the laundromat. I never saw that man again after that, so I never mentioned it again. I sometimes think if the lights didn't come back on, would he have tried to take me away, or worse?
That's weird. Because he like pulled him close and held on to him, then the lights came back on. And then he just let him go.
This story happened to me about a month ago. The apartment that I live in isn't in a good area, but I haven't got that much money, and it's all I can afford currently. Thankfully, I have a washing machine in my apartment,
I know you
and I
feel.
don't have to go to the laundromat. Unfortunately, my washing machine broke. It was on a Saturday evening, and after calling a repairman to look at it, he told me he couldn't fix it until Monday, as he didn't have the time or equipment that evening, and the next day would be Sunday. So I had to do my laundry in a nearby laundromat, which was in a neighborhood that I try my best to avoid. I would be out all day Sunday, so I had no choice but to go to the laundromat that same Saturday evening. Going to the laundromat in a neighborhood I don't go to, especially at night, was quite unsettling. I walked
Yeah,
to the
I've done
laundromat
that.
and saw it to be empty.
I've had to do that.
I didn't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing. I guess good, as there was no one around to bother me. I sat down on the bench scrolling through my phone as my laundry was in the washing machine. I still didn't see anyone outside or inside, and I didn't see the owner behind the counter either.
I forgot I can pause now. Because I'm recording on OBS. But yeah, I've had that experience where I've gone to a neighborhood that I didn't like to do laundry at a laundromat that I'm not familiar with or I don't live in. And I've never had too many issues. Like, I don't want to say issues, but I mean, really the most that I have homeless people come in and ask me for money because they know you got change because you're in a laundromat. So they're like, you got change. I have been in some laundromats where you can put money on like a card and use it there. I think they was like, yeah, you pay $2 or $1 for the card, and then you can just put money on that card. But still, you can go up to. I remember it was one you can go up to the front because it was like in a building. You had to walk out and into another laundromat, but there's like another kind of like convenience store, and you could go to the front desk and they'll put money into, or they had a machine, but sometimes it was broken. But they had a machine in there where you could put money into. But still, even then, they know you had money because you had to, it was basically like almost like a coin machine where you put money into, and you could get you can put your card in there and then put the foldable money or change in there. So they knew you had money. So I've had like homeless people come in and I give them like a few dollars or something like that because I'm like you know you got money and I'm like I can afford it, so I can give a few dollars because they usually and then immediately go right into the convenience store and buy something, but never had any real issues like any
Then started to hear some kind of scuffling in the back room behind the counter and a loud thud. The door was slightly open, but I couldn't see anything. I was about to get up and leave because I thought something bad was happening, like a robbery taking place, and I didn't want to get caught up in that. But before I got up, a man opened the back room door, and he looked at me and turned away. He came out less than a minute later, this time wearing a different shirt than before. He must have been the owner or something. I remember thinking that. He gave me a friendly wave and a smile and stood at the back of the counter. Sometime later, he went into the back room and I didn't see him again. My laundry was done and I went home. The next morning, I couldn't believe what I saw on the news. The owner of the laundromat I was at the previous night was found dead in a pool of blood early that morning. And the picture of the owner wasn't the man that I saw the previous night behind the counter. It was rumored that the owner was in some kind of money trouble and didn't have the money to pay what he owed. It's scary to think that a murder took place.
So you kill him? Well, you definitely gonna get any money.
I had no idea about it. And the suspected murderer came out and waved to me as if nothing was going on. I told police what I saw, and as far as I know, the suspect hasn't been found.
Damn. Well, he had to be inconspicuous. He couldn't, like, he'd come out there and be like, and y'all lock eyes, and he just stand there and stare at you. Know, hey, how you doing? He pretend and just keep moving because you don't think you're none the
wiser. My name is John, and I'm 35 years old. I'm a security guard and have been for a while now. About a year ago, I got a job working night shifts at a small hotel. My job will be sitting at a desk watching a computer monitor, which was connected to a few cameras located around the hotel. And every hour or so, I would get up and patrol the area. This one night, I was sitting at my desk scrolling through my phone when I took a quick glance at the monitor and saw there was someone in the laundromat, which was located in the basement. There shouldn't be anyone down there at the time. I remember thinking that, which was past 2 a.m. I should mention that the camera quality wasn't the best, but it was good enough to see when something is going on.
Of course it was.
So I went down to the basement, turned my flashlight on, and spoke out. Is anyone down there? You need to leave
no.
right now. I tried to sound confident when I said that, but I'm not sure if it came out that way. Going down into a dark laundromat basement.
I wouldn't even say nothing. All you hear is a gun cock, like,
especially when you saw someone in there. And what's more creepy was,
I don't know what made a shotgun cocking, but I cocked like I was cocking a hand.
I went back upstairs to my desk. As I mentioned earlier, the camera quality wasn't the greatest, so I brushed it off to being a glitch in the footage or something. I continued looking at my phone, but this time more cautious to the monitor. It wasn't long before I noticed something on the screen again. It was in a laundromat. I looked closely and I swear I was certain I saw something. I could see someone pacing back and forth. Once again, I went down to the basement and into the laundromat to check, shining my light and asking who was down there. There was no reply. I couldn't see anyone in there. The laundromat wasn't that big, so I could clearly see if someone was in there. And it was empty. I was so confused and at the same time frightened. How can I see someone on the camera, but the room was clearly empty? Just as I was heading back upstairs,
it's a supernatural story.
Then a continuous banging.
It's a hell of a bang.
I shone my flashlight to the laundromat and I saw one of the washing machine doors was swinging open and shut by itself, slamming into the machine each time. I slowly walked up to the swinging door and put my hand in front of it, and it stopped. As soon as I stopped the door from swinging, I heard a whisper in my ear, and something grabbed my shoulder. I jumped into
Okay, Jason is in your ear? What the fuck?
I ran upstairs and out of the basement, back to my desk. I looked at the monitors.
I ran upstairs, underwear soaked with urine and feces.
The washing machine door opened and closed by itself. I rewound the footage back to see if I could see something that I may have missed. The only thing that I could see, though, was me walk up to the washing machine door, stopping it, and me getting frightened and running out of the laundromat. I could make out one word from the whispering I heard in my ear. and that was leave. The next night, I struggled to get through the night shift.
Leave.
I kept watching the monitors, expecting something to happen, especially at Laundromat, but I never did. I was too scared to work there after that.
Yeah, I'm like, I
The
quit.
following day, I told my boss that I was leaving. I'm not a superstitious man at all.
That you
But I
putting in a
honestly
2-week
believe
notice?
that
Like, no,
what I
I'm leaving
experienced was
after my
100%
shift today.
supernatural.
As if I was, if ghosts existed, I was a ghost. See, I wouldn't say dumb shit like that, like leave. Like I would like get right up in somebody's ear and be like, chicken butt. It's like, I'd be so dumb, and I would definitely fuck with like those paranormal investigators. Like, oh, I would fuck them up so bad. I'd like literally just grab a chair and send it flying and embed it into a wall just to fuck them. Like, they like, if anyone's here, like, say something. I'd be like, fuck you. And have the whole room, like everything levitate in the room. I'd grab one of them and throw their ass out of a window. Wouldn't kill them. I would just scare them to the point where they change careers. Like, oh, I would be fucking, I'd be weird if I became a ghost. I would just go around and pick kids up and like just hit them flying. It's like I would let them know, hey, I'm gonna pick, and then you'd be like, you're flying, even though they could probably see me, so it'd be just like a adult picking up a kid and doing that like I do with my niece. It's like they flying, but everyone else, I guess the adults, they'd be like, what the fuck? You would definitely know that ghosts exist if I was a ghost, because it would. Oh man, I would be so, especially if I get bored. Like, yeah, I'm bored. I think I'm just go like sit in random people's cars and then just make myself appear like in the back seat with my eyes all bugged out. I don't know. That might make somebody swerve and kill themselves. Maybe not that. Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I've had, like, they're not really scary, and I didn't think to say laundromat because they were technically in a laundry room, but I mean it's the same thing. It's just this is an apartment building with like I think like 4 machines, like 2 washers and 2 dryers. And I remember I was a kid. I can't remember how old I was. I remember where I was living there, so I had to be probably around 9, 10. Well, no, actually about 10, 11, or 12, actually, that age. And I remember it was 2 women, and like I actually don't know how old. I'm assuming they were adults. They look like they could have been in their late teens to early 20s, or even early 30s. It's like a person who looks youthful, And when I was a kid, and I was downstairs. I was helping my mom do laundry, but I would go downstairs to get the laundry. She would go down there to make sure I didn't fuck up, like, because we separated the clothes, and she didn't want me to accidentally put bleach in something, so she would make sure that was fine. But then after that, I would just go down there myself, take the clothes out, the washer, and put them in the dryer. She's like, well, can't fuck that up, So put that in the dryer and then go back down and get the clothes. And I remember seeing it when I went down to put the clothes in the dryer, and they was talking. I could hear them when I was coming down the stairs because they were talking loud, and I was already up on the 3rd floor and I could hear them. And when I walked to the laundry room, they stopped talking and looked at me, and one of them smiled, and the other one, and then they whispered something to the other one, and the other one started laughing. And me being a very insecure child, I immediately thought they were making fun of me or something. So, because especially around that time, I was being bullied a lot, but not, well, more so because I was going to almost all white school, and I was black. So, well, I am black. I was black, and I was being bullied a lot there. But when I was when I they was doing that, I was getting the clothes out, putting them in the dryer, and then I left, went back upstairs. When I went back down to get the clothes, and they were down. I don't know, I don't know if they're still down there. Or they can't, but they were down there, and one of the girls, her head was in the dryer. The other girl was kind of like, oh shit. She was kind of like leaning on another dryer, and or she was leaning on the dryer with my clothes in, and one of the girls had her head in the dryer. The girl in the head in the dryer, she like it was coming out, and I ain't gonna lie. As a kid, both these chicks were bad. Like they were fine as hell. and they they were bad. And maybe it didn't really bother me because I was actually liked it, but one of the girls backed up into me, and me being probably the height I was at that time, it was just like an ass like in my chest. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And the way, and it's funny the way she said it. I was like, "It's funny." And then she did a thing like she came up and then bumped her butt back into me again. And I was like, and I know I started blushing. And now, in hindsight, like as an adult, I'm like that was not okay. I was like a kid, and these chicks, like they would, like I said, they could have been in their late teens, maybe early 20s, or even like I say, it could be early 30s based on I guess how they age or their genetics or whatever. But the way they were talking makes me think they were probably in their late teens, early 20s. But yeah, that happened. And the other girl started laughing, and I remember I probably like I think I was blushing because I was like trying not to smile, but I was like like an idiot. And I get the clothes, and I said, excuse me, because she was sitting on the dryer, or she was leaning up against the dryer in front of the door that I need to get my clothes out of. And she moved, and I just got my clothes out, and they were saying something and laughing, and I took my clothes upstairs, and I just thought about that because like it's not really. I mean, at the time, I remember as a kid, it wasn't really creepy, but if I saw that as an adult, seeing that happen to a kid, like, I bet, what the fuck are you doing? Like, like that, like, especially like I said, that age, I had to be around 10 to 12, but living where we was at the time. So I had to be like 10, 11, 12 years old. So I like that was weird. I had, like I said, as a kid, plus they were very attractive. Um, it was more like I liked it at the time. But just like if you look at it, you like, yeah, that wasn't, yeah, that was very inappropriate. Yeah, I mean they probably just playing it, but still like it was very, very inappropriate. uh I was gonna say something else. By the time I was in a, it was like it was in a, I get laundromat, but it was like a laundry room in another apartment I lived in. And no, that wasn't really creepy. I mean, the guy was just, it was in a laundry room, and the guy, the more the atmosphere was, because it was like everything was concrete, and it looked like it was old chipped concrete at that, and there was just walls of crack. And the guy was just kind of sitting there. He kept like staring, but he was staring at everybody who came in there. So I don't know. I don't know if that was creepy or he just. Some people just stare. I mean, it's not necessarily creeps. They just stare at people. But there was a time when I was in the military, and I was in the dorms when I first went to my first base, when I first went in, and it was a laundromat. It was like 12 washing, 12 dry, or something like that, or maybe not, maybe like 9 washing, 9 dry. But it was a guy in there, and I remember I walked in, and I was like, "Hey, how you know?" Because I was like, you try to speak, to people, And he just, I remember he just like he just looked and then turned his head, and I'm like, all right. And he kept doing what he was doing, and I was changing. If I remember correctly, I was changing, taking my clothes out of the washer and putting them in the dryer, and then he like dropped something on the floor, and I remember he's like fuck, like, and I was, yeah. And I like, yeah, I just was like, oh, okay, and like I said, and I remember walking out, and he punched one of the dryers, and the way he hit it on the corner, like on the front of the dryer. He hit it like on the corner with this part. I know he had to fuck his fingers up because he hit it hard, and you could tell the way he kind of like winced in pain after he hit it. I was like, I remember just walked out, put my coins in, and started to dry and walked out. And I was like, I hope he don't fuck with my shit. I was like, this dude is clearly having a bad day or something. I was like, because he did that. He was like, fuck. Because it was like, fuck. Like, because I don't remember what he dropped something. I can't remember. I remember I heard like something hit the, and then I remember coins, I think, hit the ground because it sounded like a bunch of coins hit the ground. And maybe that was what he dropped his clothes or so. I didn't look back at first because I heard it and I was doing my thing. I was like, oh, fuck. By the time I looked around, he had, like, I did see coins on the ground, but he had, like, scooped something up. So I guess he dropped his clothes on the ground. And I was like, man, I was like, this dude, that was the straw that broke the camel's back because he went off with that. But anyway, 32 minutes. Hope y'all enjoyed my reaction one. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here. Hit that bell. You won't be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.